women 40 plus that are attractive, single, never been married, and have no kids. That's the topic we're going to be discussing here today live. So stick around for all that and much, much more that's coming right. Whoa! Welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. And if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell. So that way you won't miss a single thing when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. And as I always say at the beginning of each and every show, I am here to help as many people as possible that are first and foremost open to the help, get the best possible grips on their lives, so that way each and every one of you can accomplish whatever it is that your hearts desire. That's right. That's absolutely right. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Let me first and foremost, as always, make sure that the YouTube notification has gone out, and it has. Let me also check out the back end of YouTube and see if things are rolling smoothly. And yes, they are. And once again, we are simulcasting live on Facebook. Let me just make sure that that is rolling well. On the top of the home feed.
Facebook.
Cool.
Let me just make sure that that is rolling well.
Yes, it's rolling well. Excellent quality over there, even on Facebook. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. All right. And before we get to it, once again, I'd like to pay special props to this channel's sponsor. That's none other than my great longtime friend, Troy Brewer, that runs an amazing marketing company, one of the most trustworthy marketing companies on the planet. Called the Discover Community Network. He is the CEO, founder, and owner of the Discover Community Network. So for all of your product and service needs from the most trusted professionals in the industry, please visit www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. One more time, that's www.discovercommunitynetwork.com. You can also visit a subsidiary of the Discover Community Network known as the DCN Internet Radio Network. And when you go on that website, you're going to find a bunch of talk and music internet radio stations. And if you enjoy talk and music internet radio, one of those talk or music stations is more than likely going to suit your, genre needs. So please consider checking out www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. One more time, that's www.dcninternetradionetwork.com. Both those links are below in the description, about a third of the way down on the YouTube side of things. And if you go to either of those websites and you also find out how to connect with Troy by phone or by email and you reach out to him, please do not fail to mention that Coach Eli sends you with lots and lots of love. All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It is Thursday, February 18th, the day this live stream is being recorded. If you're here on the replay, that's when it was broadcasted and recorded live. Last night, folks, I had another phone call scheduled with a woman that I've been talking to on Match.com. And I'm going to be sharing that story here today. After that phone call, because of how that phone call went, I had plenty of sleep yesterday, and I wasn't really tired. But after that phone call and what happened on that phone call, I was just drained all of a sudden. And I fell asleep on my couch. And I slept for, I think about 3 hours or so. And then I got up and I just couldn't fall back asleep. So, I've been, working for the last, 3 or 4 hours and decided to do this live stream, an extra live stream for you folks today. And to also, see if there's a morning audience here. I'm kind of testing a bunch of things out. So that's why I'm here doing this morning. I was going to eventually share this story, but I figured since I'm up now, it's early in the morning, I can't sleep, might as well do it now. So I don't expect there to be a whole bunch of people, at least, people that are moderators on my channel and, people that are typically here. This was a last minute thing, and that is okay. I'll be periodically checking over on the Facebook side of things to see if anyone's there. We have 2 people on Facebook, and feel free to say hi and introduce yourselves over on Facebook if you'd like. We do have 8 people, 9 people now on YouTube, and if you're not banned here on this channel, if you're a good person and you're here to participate in civil and rational ways, feel free to chat in the chat. You can ask any questions throughout this show. I'm not going to be on too terribly long. This story is not going to take that long to share, maybe 30 to 45 minutes max. And if we do get some engagement, it might go a little bit longer, but I'm assuming we'll be here for about 30 to 45 minutes or so. Now, the topic of today's show is women 40 plus, attractive, never married, no kids. My experiences and advice to men seeking a relationship. One more time. The topic is women 40 plus, attractive, never married, no kids. My experiences and advice to men seeking a relationship. It's been very interesting what I've been noticing lately on Match.com and other online dating sites. What's been going on? There's been a major trend, and maybe it's been happening for a while, but I'm just more so starting to notice this. There are a lot of attractive women in their 40s and 50s that are very good looking. They're in very good shape, and they look much younger than their age. Okay, they take care of themselves, great smile, great job, own their own home, have their own car, have everything together. Okay. When you look at their profile, it says single, never been married, no kids, and they either say, I don't want kids, or not sure if I want kids, or they leave that option blank. And whenever I come across one of those women now, I get a little leery. But I still will send them a message if they have a good profile, because you never know. You never know. I'm 47 years old. Single, never been married, no kids, and if it's okay for me to be single, never been married with no kids in my 40s, why would it not be okay for a woman to not be single, never been married, no kids in their 40s? It is okay, but I'm seeing a trend here with what it's like to deal with these women, even if you're a good guy that's attractive, has his stuff together, and is looking for a relationship just like they are. And every single time I've talked to one of these women over the last 2 to 3 months or 4 months or so that I've been on Match.com this time around, it always ends up the exact same way. But if you're a guy out there, you probably experience this. And ladies, I'm not here to bash women. I love women. I'm here to teach both men and women things that I've gone through and things that other people have gone through. And I'm here to hopefully try to make a difference and change, what I feel is going on that really isn't cool, to be honest with you. It really isn't cool. So you have to ask yourself as a guy, okay, if you come across an attractive woman that's over 40 years old, she's single, never married, no kids, great job, like I said a few minutes ago, owns her own home, owns her own car, has everything together. Why is she single? And why has she been single? Why has she never been married over the past 20 years? And why doesn't she have any kids, right? What's really going on here, right? And now she's talking with me, okay, which, that's cool. I'm a decent guy. Now she's talking with me, and her profile claims that she's looking for the same exact things that I'm looking for. But again, like I said, I get a little leery when I talk to these women because it is much easier for an attractive woman that has her things together to give any man a chance, any decent man a chance, right? There are plenty of good guys out there that would want to date and possibly marry and have kids with a woman like this, even in her early 40s. And women can still have kids in their early 40s. But a lot of them don't want to because they say the risk is greater, or I don't know if I want kids or whatever, right? Or I wanted kids, but now I'm in my 40s, right? Okay. Now, before I share my story regarding what happened with this woman, let me share with you what I really feel is going on. I've kind of talked about this before in the past, and I'm going to share this again. And these are just the facts about what's going on nowadays. Again, I'm not here to bash women or men or anything. I'm just here to share what's going on in this modern world of dating. That's why my show is called Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, because it's a very interesting modern world. That's a new world that we're living in, and we're all learning how to navigate this world together as it's happening, right? Okay? So if we go back, I've said this before, if you've been to my channel before, it's going to be a little bit of a repeat, but just in case for the new people, okay? If we go back 55 years or so, the Civil Rights Act of 64 was passed. The Equal Rights Amendment was passed. And basically, companies and people were not allowed to discriminate against other people based on age, race, sex, national origin. And now, in the modern world, that includes sexual orientation, whether you're gay, straight, lesbian, bi, trans, etc. Right? So basically, no discrimination, regardless of everything I just mentioned. Right? And the Equal Rights Amendment gave ladies equal rights. Right? And for the past hundreds of years, women have been fighting for equal rights, and they've been pushing forward hard to get liberated, and it finally ended up happening. Okay? It finally ended up happening. But when did it start affecting dating relationships? From what I noticed, it started affecting dating relationships about 15 to 20 years ago. I think more so it's happening now because of these smartphones here that are attached to our hips. I think that's made things worse. But even though women have been liberated longer than 20 years, if I go back 20 years ago to the days when I was 27, 25, or even in my early 30s, to my mid 30s, it was much easier to get a date, and you were still finding women that were looking for true love and were looking for, a family and this and that, right? And there were women back in those days that were much more easily able to balance their work and their personal life, right? But again, like I said, the last 15 to 20 years have been unlike anything I've seen. And from what I've learned, being a part of the YouTube community, being a part of other communities, I used to be a part of this community called MGTOW, which stands for Men Going Their Own Way. And while I despise a lot of the people that were running content under the MGTOW label, I really enjoyed the MGTOW message. It made a lot of sense. It taught me a lot about, modern day female nature. So I learned a lot, through that. I learned a lot about I learned a lot through following some other coaches like Coach Corey Wayne and Dan Bacon out here on YouTube. And this is what I feel women are going through nowadays. And I even learned a lot about this being in a relationship with my ex who had 2 teenage daughters and seeing what they want in regards to men, compared to when I was a teenager and what we wanted back then. When I was a teenager, I had a high school sweetheart. I dated her for many years, even after high school, right? Back in those days, these were the early 90s. I graduated high school in 1992. We still believe in relationships, right? But interestingly enough, nowadays, even girls in high school are not looking for a relationship. They still want the attention of guys, but it's become a hookup culture even in high school. And why is that? Why is that? I was talking with my ex about this years ago because she had talked with her daughters. Now, I would not talk with their daughters about this, but I would ask my ex because I really wanted to know what was going on. And she said, my girls are focused on their education, and then they're focused on college and getting into a career. And at the same time, back in those days, a few years back, 3 years ago, 3 to 4 years ago, when I was with her, I was learning a lot more about through these communities I was involved with. And many people were saying that women nowadays are being indoctrinated by society to seek out, a college degree and to, be more career focused than relationship focused. Okay. So it starts in their teenage years, right? This is the way the system is now, bringing up women in my opinion, and from what I've seen, right? So what happens after high school? They graduate, they go to college, right? What happens while they're in college? And you've heard many other content creators talk about this. I'm not going to use the verbiage they use. I'm not going to get my stream demonetized. I'm going to say this as professionally and properly as possible. But what happens in college? Are women looking for a relationship? There are some good guys or nice guys per se in college, right? And guys in their teens and early 20s don't understand women and modern day female nature, and don't understand that if you're too nice and you act like a sissy, or you put a woman on a pedestal, right? Or you suck up to her, like I said, it's going to turn off a woman, right? So all these nice guys that are probably good looking guys are approaching these women, and women, instead of dating these guys, are dating the guys that don't want the serious commitment, the jocks, the guys that, are the daredevils, the risk takers, the dangerous type of guys, right? And they're dating multiple guys like that. And at the same time, they're keeping these other nice guys, which we call beta orbiters, right? They're called beta male orbiters, right? Because they don't understand that being too nice is not going to get the girl. It's going to get you friend zoned, or it's going to put you on the back burner. It's going to keep you in backup friend zone status. And then you're going to end up becoming this woman's therapist, right? So you got these women, they're going to college, they're getting an education, and they're sleeping with different guys throughout their 20s, right? Okay. What happens next? They get a college degree, they graduate, right? You figured they'd be ready for a commitment after that, right? They get into their 30s, they get into their career, and now they want to be in their career for a few years and, get settled in, maybe pay off their student loans, get promoted, maybe buy a house, buy a car. They want to get totally situated, right? So now you're looking at a woman being 31, 32, 33 years old, right? Single, never been married, no kids, right? And what's she done from her high school days throughout her college years and 20s? She's, no disrespect, she's been sleeping around with, the daredevil college jock type of guys that don't want a commitment, right? And why are they doing that? Because these guys don't suck up to them. Plus, these guys are not looking for a commitment. And these women are not looking for a commitment because they feel they have no time. They don't want to balance a relationship, plus, do their homework, their schooling to get their degree, right? They don't want to balance that out, but they still feel the need for intimacy and stuff like that, right? So they can get that from these other guys. Every so often they'll hook up, right? And then that satisfies them there. And then, they can spend the rest of the time studying and, getting their degree, and graduating college, right? So then, like I said, afterwards, they end up getting their career, they get a job. They want to pay off their student loans or college debt. They want to get promoted, get settled in, buy a house, buy a car, and be completely ready before they feel they're ready to commit to somebody, right? What happens during this time? Okay. There's something that's called sexual market value. It's called SMV. With no disrespect, that's a true thing, right? Now, I still think women, as they get older, if they keep themselves in shape and they take care of themselves, they look good. There are a lot of women in their 40s and 50s that look good and actually look more attractive than some women in their late teens, 19, 18, 19, and in their 20s as well too, right? But let's face it, women look their most attractive when they're, younger, like, in their 20s, right? And that's the time where, they're going to attract, the best possible man to, get into a relationship with, fall in love with, get married, and start a family, right? But instead of doing that, they're more focused on their college education, and they're not willing to balance both things out. Okay? So, Big Bill says, welcome to the show. They be getting promiscuous. Yes, they are. And it's not because they want to be promiscuous, man. It's because they're focused on getting a college degree. They're more career focused, but they still everybody has sexual needs, Big Bill, right? So they still have their needs. And it's not that they don't want a commitment. They know that if they commit to somebody, it's going to take time away from their studies. At least they feel it is, because they're not willing to balance it out. Okay. So now they're 31, 32, 33, and they're ready to find a guy. They're ready to find the man of their dreams. But what happens when you get into your early to mid 30s? Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. The biological clock starts ticking. Right? What also happens, with no disrespect, I love women. I think there are women that look beautiful when they're older. But let's face it, the younger a woman is, the more attractive she's going to look. She's going to have that youthful, younger look, right? And biologically, the chances for a woman to get pregnant in her 20s is far greater than in her 30s. And after 35 or 36 or so, the chances slim down even more after that. And after 40, it gets down to, I believe, like 1%. I think it's 5% chance of pregnancy from 35 to 40. And after 40, it's 1%, right? So their fertility level goes down, right? Okay. Their looks start to diminish. No disrespect. I mean, women are still going to look good, but they're not going to look as youthful as they did in their 20s, right? Okay. So now you have women in their early 30s or mid 30s, 31, 32, 33, some 34, 35. They're trying to hurry up and find a good man that wants to get together, get married within a year, and start having kids before the biological clock expires. Big Bill says, what about freezing eggs and IVF nowadays? Well, that's expensive, bro. It's expensive. And, that's a viable option. But honestly, like, if you're a guy like me, bro, like, I would want to have kids the natural way. My mom and dad had my brother and I the natural way, right? Nowadays, we're freezing eggs and we're putting things on hold and we're messing with biology, right? I believe in the natural flow of progression. I believe in things just happening naturally, right? If you meet someone, you get married, and you decide you both want to have kids, okay? You get your woman off of birth control, and then you know what? You just enjoy making love to your partner all the time, and if and when she gets pregnant, right? Right? That's the natural way to do it, right? So nothing wrong with freezing eggs and IVF, but why even put yourself through that if you balance out your life better at a younger age? I think part of the issue is that, we need to, teach men and women. We need to get men and women to understand that, hey, you can both go to college and have an education, but if you want to have a family, you got to balance both out. Because in your 20s, that's the best time to get married and, have children. At the very latest, your early 30s, 30, 31. But if you're not looking to find that special person until you're 30, 31, 32, 33, even if you find them right away, you don't know them well enough to get married and get pregnant, right? So say a 33-year-old woman finds a man at 33. Now, for a man, the age doesn't matter. Our sperm works till the day we die. It's not a big deal. But for women, the biological clock's going to keep ticking, right? Okay? So you find a guy at 33, you date him for a year, right? That's 34. He proposes to you, you get married next year at 35. Now you're 35 and now you try to start conceiving at 35, and now your chances of pregnancy go from 20% to 5%? I mean, look what you're doing to yourself, right? But nobody's teaching women this. People are, the society's telling women, go to college, get a degree, and be more career focused than relationship focused. But they're not saying that, hey, by the time you're ready to have a family, your chances of fertility are going to go from 30% in your 20s to 5% in your mid 30s. So you're going to have, a 75% less chance of getting pregnant. It's going to be much more difficult, right? But technically, it's still really not too terribly late in your 30s, right? But what happens when you're a woman that hits 40 and you wanted to have kids? So now you're 40 because you couldn't find a guy in your 30s. You started dating in your 30s and you dated a couple of guys, okay? Well, let me get to the story of this woman I was talking with on the phone last night that I met from Match.com. I didn't meet her in person. I mean, we connected through Match.com. So let me go to the conversation because there's still a possibility I may end up talking with her, but I doubt it. But I totally doubt it based on the way the conversation ended. I mean, I didn't block her. She didn't block me. And technically, she probably thinks I'm still interested in her, but I'm not. And I'll tell you why in a second. So I sent her my standard message, I get a feeling you're different, blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. I'm not gonna read that. I've read that before, right? But I sent her a message and asked her to read my profile, right? This was on February 11th, 2021. 4 days later, on February 15th, she gets back to me and says, "Hello, Eli. Thank you for the compliment. My mom and I died laughing watching The Secret," because I put on my profile, I enjoy the movie and the book The Secret. She said, "We couldn't stop whispering secret," because in the movie, I keep going, the secret is you, the secret, right? The book is more serious, as I am a believer in the law of attraction. Whenever I hear a woman say I'm a believer in the law of attraction, that tells me she's extremely picky. Every single time I've heard a woman say, I believe in the law of attraction, it never works out because she's extremely picky. Like, no guy has a chance. No guy has a chance. I also do not want a pen pal, which is what I put in my profile. Maybe you would like to exchange numbers? And then she put her name. I'm not going to mention her name. And I'll just say ma'am instead of her name. I got back to her. I happened to be online. I got back to her a few minutes later and said, "Ma'am, yes. What's your number? And I'll text you tomorrow to arrange a phone call and get to know you better. I look forward to it. Eli." So that was on February 15th. A woman that has a high level of interest for you, every time it's worked out with a woman from Match.com, she'll either send me her number back like right away within the hour, or sometimes right away because they're online, or by the next morning, right? Next morning, next afternoon. So she showed interest, right, with her message. She even said, maybe you would like to exchange numbers. Sure. Okay, so you're showing me interest, right? Okay. She didn't get back to me the next day, the 16th. The 16th was Tuesday, okay? So this happened on Monday the 15th, right? She didn't get back to me until 2:22 p.m. today, Wednesday, the 17th. What that's telling me is that she's talking to a lot of guys, and I'm just another, backup status guy, right? And based on her profile, single, never been married, no kids, attractive, she's 5'8", has a lot of pictures, good looking, takes good care of herself, etc., right? Loves hiking, loves the outdoors, wrote a great profile, spelling and grammar, all great, right? So she gets back to me yesterday at 2:22 p.m. Hello, Eli, my number is, and obviously I'm not going to mention her number because the trolls would have a field day with that one, right? So I sent her a text. And, basically I said, hi, blah, blah, blah. It's Eli from Match. How's your day going? She gets back to me half an hour later, 40 minutes later, sorry, not bad. Hello, Eli. I'm wrapping up my workday, which has gone well. How are you doing today? I wrote, ma'am, I'm doing quite well, and thanks for asking. It is nice to connect with you off of Match. I like your very positive energy, and it seems like you love hiking. Both aspects are A+ in my book. I'd enjoy a phone conversation with you for us to get to know each other better. Are you free later this evening for a call after you are settled in? So I wrote her, I made some effort, and I wrote, it wasn't an overwhelming response, but I just wanted to get her a little excited for our phone conversation, right? Figuring she would at least write 2-3 sentences. She did what most women do nowadays. One-liner, yes, I am free later this evening. Didn't say thank you for the compliments or anything like that, right? Right? So I just got back to her and I said, great, let me know quick what time is your bedtime so I don't call too late and I'll give you a time for our call. She said, 10 o'clock. Okay. I got back to her and said, I'll call you right around 9 or shortly before that time so we have some time to talk. I'll text you before I call. Enjoy your evening for now, and I look forward to speaking with you. Like, I'm putting in not a whole incredible amount of effort, but a little bit of effort. Like, if you're interested in someone, don't you want to show them that? Then she gets back and says, talk to you then. One-liner. Women that write one-liners, not really that interested, or have too much going on, or there are too many guys in the queue. So then I was doing a stream, and when I finished my stream last night, I said, ma'am, which I'm substituting for her name, I'll call you right at 8:45 and text you right before I call, just giving you a heads up, right? Didn't get back to me, that's fine. I was just making her aware. And then at 8:47, I gave her my standard text before I call someone for the first time, just to be funny and see how they handle it. Are you ready for me? Question mark, LOL, exclamation point, smiley face. Are you ready for me? Ha ha ha, right? And 2 minutes later, she gets back, yes. So now, before I get to that phone call and share with you folks what happened on that phone call, just so I rest my voice a little bit, we've been on for 33 minutes. I'm going to take a quick break so I can go use the restroom and refill my coffee here, and then come back and let you folks know exactly what happened on this call. So let me just cue up some royalty-free YouTube music. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Just need one more. Ooh, what's happening here? Give me a second here. I'm sorry, folks. For a second there, OBS was showing me a bad stream status, but it looks like on YouTube it's still going through. Let me just check out my bandwidth real quick. for some reason, there were just a whole bunch of dropped frames there. It looks like it cut off for a second and then it came back. Maybe it's the YouTube servers that did that. So my apologies if something happened out there. Not quite sure what it was. But I just got a whole bunch of dropped frames at once. Not a big deal. Things happen. Let me make sure Facebook's still rolling. Yeah, it is. Okay. All right, folks. Oh, wait a minute. I still need one more song. All right. We're all set, folks. I'm going to step away for a quick 5 to 7 or 8 minute break. And when I get back, I'm going to share the story, what happened on that phone call with this 42-year-old woman that is very attractive, single, never been married, no kids, claims to want a relationship, claims to be ready for one. So, yeah. Stick around. We'll be right back. Feel it. You see the background right here? This woman is hopeful, right? She's out there looking into the sky and the clouds and wishing for that great man to come around. And that great man is here. There are plenty of great men out there. You gotta give us a chance, ladies, if you want it to happen. Yeah! Oh, it's morning, it's morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning! Yeah. Oh, yes. I feel good. I feel real good. Full of energy. Full of energy. Energy up, energy up, energy up. All right. Welcome back to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli, live on YouTube and also simulcasting live once again on Facebook. Glad you could all join me today. I haven't checked out Facebook for a little while. Nothing happening over there. Still one viewer on Facebook. 8 people here, now 10 people here on YouTube. Glad you could all join me on this Thursday morning. Thursday, February 18th, 2021 is when this live broadcast is happening. And if you're watching on the replay, my live streams are typically created in ways where they have great replay value. You can watch this anytime down the road and learn a lesson here of how to better deal with any topic I'm discussing. Which, by the way, this morning, I'm used to doing streams at night, see? Today, I'm discussing women 40 plus, attractive, never married, no kids, my experiences and advice to men seeking a relationship. One more time, the topic is women 40 plus, attractive, never married, no kids, my experiences and advice to men seeking a relationship. If you missed the first part of the show, I was sharing my thoughts regarding what women go through nowadays, stemming back to their high school days, in their teenage years, through their 20s, going through college, getting a degree, not wanting a relationship, but, still wanting to have some attention from men. But they seek the attention of the wrong man, and they put off what they really want, thinking that they don't have time for it because it's going to affect their studies, right? Then they get into their 30s and they start trying to find that man, and they can't find that man, right? And then their biological clock starts to tick, 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 tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Now they're in their mid to late 30s, and then they get into their 40s. They're single, never been married, no kids. They've got a great job, they've got a nice house, they've got a nice car, they've got everything, right? Except the one thing that they supposedly really want, which is a good man in their life like they say they want, and to have a family with, right? So that's what I discussed during the first part of the show. And now, after the break, I'm going to get into this story. I started discussing the story about this woman that I've been talking to for the last few days on Match.com. That's 42 years old, very attractive, very good looking for her age. She looks like she's in her 30s. She looks good. She's 5'8". I'd probably say she's about 135, 140 pounds. Tone, great smile, great job, well-written profile. Everything seems good, right? But because I'm an experienced guy, and I'm very intuitive, I'm 47 years old, I've been around the block, and I've dealt with women like this before, or women in general, to say that, or I've dealt with women in general. That's the bottom line. I'm very leery when I'm talking to a woman, especially in her 40s, that's single, never been married, no kids, and is good looking and looks great on paper. Everything looks great, right? So if you come off that great, then why haven't you found a guy, right? So let's get into this phone call here, and let me tell you what ended up happening. So I ended up calling her after I gave her my funny one-liner text, I told her I would, text her before I call. I'm always courteous. I want to give, the person the heads up because I don't want to call somebody and then they don't pick up, right? So you can send a text, are you ready for me? LOL, playful. 2 minutes later, yes, I called her up. I said, hey, ma'am, how you doing? It's great to finally connect with you. And she said the same thing, right? And, we started having some playful banter regarding what I mentioned, she said, are you one of those funny guys? And I said, humor is the spice and essence of life. I said, you can't take things too seriously. I said, I take things seriously that need to be taken seriously. And other things, other times, you just got to have fun and roll with the punches, right? Right. No problem, right? James Pink, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Texting before a call is always a good idea. Well, yeah, it's a courteous thing, James. It's a courteous thing because the last thing you want to do is text them when they're in the restroom or when they're on the phone talking to some other guy, right? Which is, we know at this point, they're talking to other guys, I'm talking to other women. She's not the only woman I'm talking to, right? So I understand that. But, we prearranged the time, and as a courtesy, I like to show a woman that I'm very communicative. I have great communication, and communication is very important to me, right? And for most reasonable, decent women, communication is very important to them. So I'm looking to see how well they communicate with me, right? And the way they communicate with me, whether it's good or bad, is going to show me the level of interest they have. And the way she was communicating with me, with her quick one-liners and stuff like that, was kind of making me feel like, she had some interest, but she wasn't fully excited. Maybe there's another guy or two she's talking to that she feels more excited about. But I already knew that. And I go into these phone calls in this situation here, for example, knowing that more than likely this was not going to work out. Solely on the fact that she's 42, single, never been married, no kids, attractive, and has everything else going for her, right? She's got everything going for her. She can attract a lot of guys. So why is she still single? She's very, very picky. Or she's looking for a particular type of guy, which I'll mention here in a second. Like, I would be a good guy for this woman. Now, I'm not saying she'd be a good woman for me. I wouldn't want to be with a woman like her, and I'll share more in a little bit here. But I would be a good guy for this woman, but there's a reason why she eliminates guys like me, okay? So, we started talking, and I started telling her a little bit about me. She asked me about me. I started telling her a little bit about me. And, I mentioned to her that, I do life coaching. I used to be an insurance broker, blah, blah, blah. I think, whenever I tell these women what I do, I think it scares off some women, not all women, but it scares off some women because they think that I'm going to be controlling, or they think I'm the type of guy that's going to want to wear the pants, which, I think in a relationship, it should be 50-50. But this woman, when I told her what I did, she knew I was the type of guy that was not going to put up with any BS. Like, she was not going to be able to get away with anything, dealing with me, right? So after I told her that, I kind of noticed her demeanor going down a little bit. So after that point, because I wanted to ask her some questions to gauge her level of interest. Hi, Elias, this is James. Hey, James. Welcome, man. I wanted to ask her some questions to gauge her level of interest, which I already knew wasn't high before I went, on the phone call with her, before I got on the phone call with her, okay? But I didn't want to ask those questions right away. I wanted to throw in some things about her. Now, typically, I don't want to start asking a lot of questions to learn about a woman until I can gauge she has a good enough level of interest. Because why would I want to get to know a woman that's not really interested in me or has a high level of interest, right? So what did I do? I pulled up her profile, which I'm going to pull it up now. I'm not going to show it here. I'm going to pull it up on my smartphone. And basically, I told her, I said, your profile had a really funny part to it. She wrote in part of her profile, I am looking for someone to proudly hold my purse while we are in public. P.S. All the bills have been marked. And I told her, I said, let me tell you something. I'm a very secure man. I said, if you needed me to hold your purse for you for a few minutes while you do something else, I'd have no problem doing it. I said, as a matter of fact, I said, I would just take your purse and run around with it and just, make a fool out of you and me, right? I was just joking around with her. Right here, I'm holding a woman's purse. I'm a strong man. No big deal. No problem holding a purse. It doesn't make me less of a man, right? So I'm just having fun with her, right? And furthermore, she wrote, I enjoy laughing and doing cool stuff. I'm searching for my party of two. Okay. So I was warming her up with that, right? So I wanted to not make it all about me, but I didn't want to really get deep into getting to know her until I could gauge her level of interest, which at this point I felt was pretty low. It wasn't completely like 0, but it was like minimal. Maybe on a scale of 1 to 10, a 5 or a 6. Anything below 5, woman's not interested. She was like at a level 5 or a level 6. I could gauge that, right? So I was going to find out as quickly as possible, where he stood. So after that, I asked her, what did she think about my profile? My profile is pretty direct. She told me I like the fact that you are direct. She said, to be honest with you, it does come off a little bit angry or frustrated, but I can kind of understand that, and basically, whenever a woman says that about my profile, it's game over. Like, I was thinking to myself, ma'am, why are you even talking with me if you didn't understand the real reason why I wrote my profile? So I kind of cut her off in the middle of her saying that. And I say, excuse me, let me get in here before I forget. I want to respond to what you're saying along the way, because she was kind of talking a lot at that point, right? And I told her, I said, look, first and foremost, I'm not an angry person. I was speaking in a nice tone of voice. I wasn't coming at her hard. I was just saying, no, I'm not I'm not an angry or bitter person. I just know exactly what I want, and I just don't want to waste someone's time or waste my time with the wrong person. So I pretty much put it out there. And then she's like, well, have you had experiences where, people have wasted your time like this? I'm like, many. She said, well, give me an example. I said, well, okay. The first thing I put out there is I have a shaved bald head. I'm secure with it. I love my shaved bald head. And some women like guys with shaved heads, but some women prefer a guy with hair. So, I told her on 2 separate instances, I talked to a couple of women. So I talked to a couple of women on the phone for an hour each. And at the very end of the conversation, just to make sure that things were there, I asked them, you did see my entire profile, right? And you did notice I have a shaved bald head. I want to make sure that you are open and attracted to that, because some women are and some women are not. I'm happy with my bald head, but some women are that picky, right? And these 2 women told me, well, no, I don't date guys with shaved heads. I'm like, well, I thought you said you read my entire profile and you saw all my pictures, right? You see? So a lot of times these women are just not reading the profiles. And they say they are. They're just trying to get to the phone and meet as quickly as possible. And they're just skimming through these profiles because they're getting so many messages, right? So I said, look, I told this woman, I'm like, look, some women like guys with shaved heads. Some women don't like guys with shaved heads, right? And, why would I not put that out there when on several occasions I've invested an hour of my time to find out on a phone call that the women I was talking to are not attracted to that. So it's not that I'm angry, bitter. I'm not insecure. I'm very secure. I just know I know what I'm looking for, and I want to be honest and transparent up front from the very beginning about who I am, right? So, at that point, I was like, okay, I don't think this is going to really go anywhere, but let's just see. So I asked her at that point, I asked her at that point, so I read your profile and I kind of understand, what you're looking for. Obviously, you're looking for a relationship, but tell me, in your words that were on the phone, what is it that you're seeking? What are you looking for? And she said, well, I'm looking for, my other half. I'm looking for somebody to date, and if it's meant to lead to marriage, and all that, then that's all good, right? So okay. Now I wanted to ask her another question at this point about children, right? Because in her profile, she said she's never been married. She doesn't have any children, but in the section of wants children, it's blank. So she didn't put an answer there. It just wasn't there, right? And it just made me wonder, did this woman ever want kids? But I didn't want to ask another personal question about her without talking about something else first. So at that point, I switched gears and I said, so you enjoy hiking? It seems like, I saw in her pictures that she likes hiking, right? So I'm just engaging her, friendly conversation, right? Relating to her. I love hiking. She goes, do you love hiking? She turns it back on me right away. Doesn't give any details, right? Just flips it back on me. Again, short answer, right? Maybe that's who she is. Maybe she had a lack of interest, kind of like she was communicating with me through text. Maybe that's just her. Who knows? But how am I going to get to know someone if they're not going to, respond with a little bit of detail, right? So I said, yeah, I love hiking. I've been hiking all over Northern California. I live in Redwood City. But, I've been hiking, all over the East Bay, the North Bay, the South Bay, the peninsula where I live. Now, this woman lives an hour away in the Central Valley area. Okay. And she doesn't have a whole lot of hiking trails there. And I came back at her and said, well, the city you live in, I know that area. There aren't a lot of hiking trails unless you go in the hills, and I've been in that area. So do you go out of your area to go hiking? She goes, yeah, I've been to the Bay Area and done some hikes there and some of the other areas too. But she kept it very, very short, right? So at this point, I had gotten on the phone with her like it was like 8:47, right? And so we were on the phone for like an hour and 13 minutes. It was getting closer to 10 o'clock. And I'm a very respectful person. It doesn't make me a sissy to acknowledge that somebody, needs to work the next day and they're not self-employed like me. That makes their own schedule. So they got to be up at a certain time and they got to do what they got to do, right? So I said, I know it's getting closer to 10 o'clock and I just want to ask you a few other questions and see if you have any other questions before we go. Let me know if that's okay with you. And she said it was fine, right? So at that point, I was asking her about children. I said, in your profile, there's no section about whether you want children or not. And I understand that you're 42 years old, and I understand that most women in their 40s have decided that they don't want to have children or they can't have children, or they think they're too old to have children, because of the complications as you get older, right? I'm like, what are your thoughts about that? And so, she started, sharing a little bit with me about that. And she said that, I'm not necessarily looking to have kids at this point, but if I'm with someone and they want to have kids, and it's the right person, I'd be open to it. And I hate when a woman responds to that question in that way, because basically I want to know if in her head and heart she wants to be a mother and really wants kids. I don't want you to have a kid with me, ma'am, because I want to have a kid. I want you to have a kid with me because we both want to have a kid or kids, right? So that to me right there, was just saying a lot about, this woman and her level of interest and maybe being confused about what she really wants, right? And then I asked her another question, because at this point I knew it wasn't going to work. I knew at this point that, at least in my eyes, it was done. But I think it was done and it's done in her eyes too. Even though we haven't blocked each other on Match.com or cell phone yet, I think it's done. But I asked her, I said, well, did you want to have kids when you were younger? I mean, did you ever want to get married or anything like that? And she told me, she goes, well, I dated a few guys in my late 20s and early 30s. Late 20s, early 30s, okay? And, one of them, I wanted to have kids with, and he didn't want to have kids. And then the other one, wanted to have kids with me, but I didn't want to have kids with him. And I asked her, were these pretty long-term relationships? And she goes, yeah, they were 4 or 5 years each. And I didn't ask her, why did you stay with these guys for so many years if you didn't see a future with them, right? But that right there tells you the story. That right there told me the story about this woman. This woman basically invested a lot of her time into two guys. She wanted to have children. She wanted to have the fairy tale. And even though she realized, probably early on in those relationships that wasn't the right guy for her, she stayed in those relationships too long. And look what happened now. Now it's pushed her into her 40s, right? I'm sure she's probably had another relationship, that she didn't tell me, because, the gap from 35 to 40, we didn't talk about it. And I didn't want to push the envelope because, I didn't want her to think I was getting too personal. I was just trying to gauge what's up with this woman. And at this point, I was just trying to, find out about her story, because I knew I was going to make content on it so I could share it with you folks. And that way you folks know, the signs to look for when you're talking to women, and when to withdraw and when to keep moving forward, right? Okay. So, and, I forgot I had asked her one other thing. And then after, she answered that other question, I'm always the kind of guy that it's always better if the guy starts wrapping up the phone conversation. I was just about to say, okay, well, it was great talking with him. I'm gonna let you go get some rest. She beat me to it and said, well, Eli, I got to get going. It's after 10 o'clock and I got to work tomorrow. It was really, really nice talking with you. And I said, great. It was nice talking with you too. I was, just being a nice person, right? Being civil, right? And she didn't offer any other time to talk or anything. And I asked her, I said, so, you want to talk some more and continue getting to know each other? I asked her, right? And I already knew that, it wasn't going to go anywhere, because when a woman is interested in talking with you, she's going to say, hey, let's talk again some more. But she didn't say that. She said, I got to get going. It's after 10 and I got to get ready for work, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I asked her, I said, so you want to continue chatting and getting to know each other? And she's like, yeah, that'd be nice. I said, okay, well, when are you free to talk next? What works for you? She goes, well, I have a busy day tomorrow. And right then and there, when she said, I have a busy day tomorrow, that's a bunch of hooey. That's a bunch of BS. Right then and there, I knew that her level of interest, which was probably barely a 5 or 6 on a scale of 1 to 10 when we started, went down to pretty much, a 1 or a 0. It went down to a 1 or a 0. Oh, now I remember what I had told her. Let me share this part here before we go. I think this is what probably turned her off, which it shouldn't have turned her off. When I had asked her what she's looking for, she said, I'm looking for, what type of guy? I'm looking for, a man that's going to be a man, and, a strong guy that's respectful and this and that, right? And somehow, it got to the point of where I think she said, she's, tired of just meeting men that are just subpar and stuff like that, right? So at that point, I ended up telling her, I said, okay, I understand what you're looking for. Let me share something with you here before we go. And this was a test. This was a test to see if she was going to be able to handle being with a guy like me. Because I wanted to make her aware of masculine versus feminine energy, because I was also sensing that this woman has also been exuding more masculine than feminine energy. She didn't come off really sweet and submissive. She wasn't rude, but her tone of voice was very like more masculine sounding. Not completely masculine, but not the sweet feminine tone of voice that you would expect from a typical woman, right? Okay. And so I told her, I said, look, this is what I teach guys and women to understand, through my coaching business. I just want to give you an idea of how much I understand what you just mentioned. I said, look, for a man, it's not about him always being dominant or a woman being always submissive. It's about, in order for a relationship to work, a man needs to be in his masculine essence 70 to 80% of the time. And the other 20 to 30% of the time, the man, is going to have some emotion and, bond with you emotionally and, shed a little, feminine energy. It's normal, right? For the woman, in order for the relationship to work, she needs to be in her feminine essence 70 to 80% of the time, and the other 20 to 30% of the time, be a little more dominant, right? And that's what creates the natural sexual polarity between a man and a woman. And after I shared that with her, I asked her, does that make sense to you? I mean, you understand where I'm coming from? I just wanted to respond to, what you were saying, because you basically, in my eyes, in other words, were saying that you're looking for a real man that's, a strong, confident man and, not, a sissy type of man, right? She goes, well, yeah, I guess I kind of understand where you're coming from, right? She didn't really like that. And I think that's what turned her off. And I don't think it was a lack of physical attraction of my pictures or the type of person I am or me being a good guy. I think it was the fact that she's used to wearing the pants. She's used to being in control. And, she knows that even though I'd be a respectful guy, 50-50 in a relationship with her, she knows I wouldn't put up with any of her BS, right? And so when women like that are used to wearing the pants and being in control of everything, whether they realize it or not, when a man like me comes along and says all the right things, because that's who I am, and acknowledges the fact that I'm a real man, and and in other words, indirectly, I'm saying that I'm not going to put up with any of your BS, but if you're good to me, I'm good to you. A woman like that is going to be like, okay, this is not going to work for me. She started to, in her head, just lose all interest. So again, like I said, her level of interest went from a level 5 or 6, which was minimal to begin with, in my opinion, but it went down to a 1 or a 0. And then, again, like I said, a few moments ago, that she said, when I got to get going. I'm working tomorrow. Didn't offer another time to talk. Didn't say I'd like to talk to you some more. So I asked her, just for poops and giggles. I asked her, right? Okay. Not out of desperation. I asked her because I wanted to see how she was going to respond, so I can create content off it and share it with you folks. That's what I do. Give me a second here. Oh, I just got a message on Facebook. And I don't know. Give me a second here. I want to make sure. Huh. One of my Facebook friends, you're probably watching the show. I'm not going to say who you are. I will read this. I need confidence that I will survive the heavy road ahead of me. My husband left me because of the grandchildren we have been raising together for the past 13 years. They hit their teenage years, giving lots of trials and tribulations. But as grandma, I will not give up. Well, ma'am, I'm not going to mention your name. We've been Facebook friends for a while. We met through networking a while back. If you want to come back to, I'm going to do another show later tonight, and I'd be happy to get more into it. I'll probably do more of a question and answer show tonight. But what I will say to you for right now is stay strong. And if you believe you're doing the right thing, that's all that matters. And, listen, I'm a guy, and obviously I've had my experiences with women, and a lot of them have been negative. But it's the same thing for women on the flip side. Women have been through a lot of negative things with men. Men and women have been through a lot of negative things. And it's not about the man or the woman being at fault. It's about whether that particular man or woman is a good person and good-hearted or not. Some people are there for the long run, and that's the way they were raised to be. And other people, are gonna flip out and leave when the chips are tough. And the way you know if somebody really loves you, ma'am, is if they're there for you through the good times and the bad times. The kind of guy I am, I'm there good, bad, or indifferent. So, keep your spirits up. I'm going to do another live stream later tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. I'm here on the West Coast, where you're at. And if you're around, I'd be happy to, share more. You can send me a private message, or you can chat in the Facebook chat if you'd like. If you send it to me privately, I'm not going to mention your name. Obviously, if you chat in the public chat, your name's going to be public. I'll mention your first name. But yeah, hopefully that helps you out a little bit there. And again, we can talk more about that on my next stream or any upcoming stream. This was just a brief stream tonight, this morning. I keep saying tonight because I keep doing my streams at night. This was just a brief stream this morning to share this experience I just had. So before I wrap it up, folks, like I said, this woman did not offer to reschedule. I asked her, if she's free to talk anytime soon, or, would you like to talk again at some point? When are you free? Well, she said, well, tomorrow I got a busy day, a full day at work. I'm not really going to have time to talk tomorrow. And she still didn't offer another time to reschedule. So what I said, look, okay, no worries. Just going to leave it up to you. If you want to talk again sometime, you have my number. Text me, and then we'll figure out a time that works for the both of us. But guys, look, if you're an intuitive, intelligent guy like myself, and you've been around the block, that's basically her saying politely that, dude, I'm not interested. For whatever reason. Maybe the main reason was when I explained to her masculine versus feminine energy, and she figured out that I'm a guy she's not going to be able to mess with and control, and wear the pants. That's what turned her off. But here's the thing, okay? Those two other guys, going back to two other guys that she was dating, I can bet you those guys were beta males. I can bet you those guys were more feminized men, right? Which is why she probably stayed around with them longer. These guys probably did a lot of things for her, probably spent a lot of money on her, and, would put her on a pedestal and this and that, right? Right? But what ends up happening in that situation when a woman is wearing the pants and has masculine energy, and she's dating men that have more feminine energy, right? Or behave more feminine-like, even though they're a man, right? Eventually, the woman will fall out of love with them. Will lose respect for them, fall out of love with them, and then eventually end up dumping them, right? And she's not realizing the reason why she's dumping them. It's because of the fact that she's more of a man than they are. No disrespect. She's acting more masculine, more manly than they are. Then a real masculine man is getting to know her, and now she's turned off by that, right? And that's the confusion a lot of these women have. And that's why I do what I do out here. I try to help men and women better understand each other and better understand masculine versus feminine energy. This used to not happen, folks. This has started to happen more so in the last 15 to 20 years, that women have started working in more higher executive positions, and they're working jobs that demand them to exude more masculine versus feminine energy. And it's almost like they don't know how to separate that between their professional and personal life. So that's that, folks. I'm pretty much done. Darren just liked my video on Facebook. So I got two people watching. Maybe Darren's watching right now. I'm about to go off the air. Man, this was a special stream I decided to do. If you missed the first part, go back and check out the replay. I'll explain why I did it. But I'll be back tonight. I'll be back tonight for another stream at around 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, maybe a little before that, maybe a little after that. I'll promote it several hours in advance on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and many other social media sites I promote my content at. So if you folks have more questions and stuff, we can talk about anything you want to talk about tonight. I may just do a general Q&A answer stream tonight, or I may do a topic. I haven't decided yet. So stay tuned and you'll find out more. All right, folks, we are at 1 hour and 21 minutes. I want to thank everyone for being here. Thank you to the woman that messaged me behind the scenes. I hope you're feeling a little bit better. Thank you to James Pink for being here, and thank you to Big Bill for being here earlier today on the YouTube side of things. With that being said, have yourselves a great day, and I'll see you later tonight. Take care. Bye. Bye.